Make sure you're following the right person. The very first thing we noticed in this story is Naomi was leaving and Ruth realized, I got to stay with her. I got to go with her. I've got to stay in this family. I got to be around someone like Naomi. I need that mother figure in my life. She followed Naomi. Not only did she follow Naomi, but watch what it says in chapter 2, verse 2. Watch Ruth. Ruth asked Naomi, will you let me go into the fields and gather fallen grain behind, watch this, someone with whom I find favor. So not only did Ruth understand, I got to follow Naomi, but I also got to go into this world and follow and be around people whom I find favor with. Here's the problem why a lot of people don't experience the abundance that God has for them. It's because you hanging out with the wrong people. Listen to me. Birds of a feather flock together. And like attracts like. And you reap what you sow. And you've been hanging out with negative voices, guess what? You're going to become negative. You hang out with some gossipy people, next thing you know, you gossiping. You're hanging out with people that are not motivated or not driven, next thing you know, you're settling for a life you have no business settling for. And you hang out with a bunch of people that are not passionate about Jesus like you know you should be, you're not going to be passionate for Jesus. Early in my life, I found that a lot. I'd always tell myself, I'm a strong personality, I'm a strong person, and I'd find myself getting around negative crowds, negative voices, negative conversations, negative environments, and I became what I'm around because what you expose yourself to, you become also. That's why Proverbs says it so beautifully, the righteous person chooses their friends carefully, but the way of the wicked leads them astray. And not a lot of people are carefully choosing who they're surrounding themselves with. Not a lot of people are willing to put themselves in places where they want to be and who they want to be. They're putting themselves in places of compromise, and they wonder why they're not reaping the favor of God. They wonder why they keep going to the field, and this is what they're getting. And they're missing the favor. You gotta care. Listen to me. Good or bad company corrupts good morals. But not only do we need to care about who we surround ourselves with in a negative way, we need to care about who we surround ourselves in a positive way. Watch what Proverbs goes on. It says, walk with the wise and you become wise. Associate with fools and you get yourself in trouble. So some of y'all been hanging out with fools and now you're acting foolish. But some of you are not even walking with wise people. Sometimes we get this idea we can just handle business ourselves. You ever go through something or have a big problem in life, or you have this big opportunity, or you need some counsel or advice, but you know what you tell yourself? I don't want to bother nobody. I don't need nobody. I'm just going to go with my gut instinct, right? And you let your emotions lead you, and you start realizing you are making choices, and you don't even realize you got blind, deaf, and dumb spots in your life. And you don't have wise counsel around you to even speak into that. It's been me a lot. In my life early on, man, I never wanted to bother people with my problems. I grew up in a family that you didn't share emotions and nobody cared about your problems, your issues. So the last thing I did was tell people I was struggling. I just sucked it up and made up. I was the oldest child. I just handled business. I just dealt with it. So when I was struggling or going through life, I didn't go and lean on mentors or ask for advice. And when I had these big life decisions in my life, I wanted my emotions with me. It's like every opportunity, I was like, I'm going to make that choice. I'm going to handle that. I'm going to handle that. And I started finding myself chasing after the wrong places. Why? Because a person's heart plans his ways, but the Lord determines steps. I was going off of my emotions, not off the guidance of God. And I needed some wise counsel. And I wanted my life to change so bad that I thought every opportunity had to be the right opportunity. Right? I thought every door that opened had to be, right, the winning prize door. And I just had to walk through it. Luckily, I had a wonderful wife that had a lot of discernment. And sometimes I tell her, hey, I think I should take this opportunity. I think I should do this. And she'd go, no. That's not what God's saying. And boy, would I get mad, right? I get frustrated. You don't want nothing. You're always keeping me from all the good stuff, right? I was mad in the moment. She saved me a lot of heartbreak a lot of times in my life. because I allowed her voice. Listen to me, I didn't override it. I listened to it. I prayed about it after she spoke it into me. And I've done that series many times with her. I've done that with many mentors in my life. Listen to me, who you surround yourself with determines who you will become in the future. That's number one. Number two, get this in your spirit. The diligent reap the harvest, while the idle reap scarcity. A lot of you go, oh, Pastor Mike, why am I not receiving the harvest of God? Why am I not receiving the favor of God? It's because you're not in the fields, you're on the sidelines. You like the shade from the tent. You don't like the heat from the sun. You got big dreams with idle hands. You got big hopes with idle feet. It doesn't work that way. Watch Ruth's personality. Boaz is asking about Ruth, and this is what they kind of say. The worker said, she asked me, will you let me gather fallen grain among the bundles behind the harvesters? She came and has been on her feet since early morning, except she rested a little in the shelter. Notice what Ruth didn't do. Ruth didn't go up to the foreman and go, hey, you got any extra grain in those baskets that you already harvest you could let me have? No, she said, can I go and work in the field along with your workers and follow behind them? And notice what it said, she'd been on her feet. She'd been working hard. She'd been putting in the work to get where she wants. Listen to me, you gotta have expectations and action to achieve the things you want in life. A lot of us have a lot of expectations. We just don't have a lot of action, and we're reaping that. Proverbs says it like this, work brings profit, but mere talk leads to poverty. I think the most crippling thing in our human mindset is this idea of entitlement. We think we deserve things. We think it should just be handed to us. And you know what happens? We go through life like this. Alms for the poor. Alms for the poor. And we're waiting for someone to give us something. We have our hands open, hoping something. Listen to me. We not only serve the greatest God who created you with the purpose and has a plan for you that is not just settling, but is thriving in this life. Not only has God given you that, but God gave you the benefit of being born in a country where you could work anywhere and do anything and be anything you want if you put your heart and your mind into it. You've been blessed not just spiritually, you've been blessed where you're born geographically. You've been blessed in the top 1% of the wealthiest people in the world, yet we still sit in the shade hoping people will come and bring us a basket of grain instead of getting in the field. Listen to me, you don't achieve things with your hands open. You achieve things by clenching your fist and fighting for what you want in life. You want your life to look different? It's going to take grit. It's going to take resolve. It's going to take discipline and tenacity. Listen to me. You want to grow spiritually? It's going to take spiritual disciplines in your life. You're going to have to die to your selfishness, your laziness, your slothfulness, and you're going to have to die to your preferences so you can spiritually grow. You want to have a healthy marriage, you're going to have to fight for it. You're going to have to serve your wife like Christ serves the church. You're going to have to honor your husband and believe the dreams that God placed in him and speak life into them. You want to conquer your finances, you're going to have to get real with it and tackle it and fight it and beat it down one debt at a time. That's the same with your career, graduating school. It's the same with dealing with problems in your life. You're going to have to get tough and fight your way through it. Idle hands bring scarcity. The disciplined people reap the harvest. Proverbs says it like this. Idle hands make one poor, but diligent hand brings riches. The son who gathers during the summer is prudent. The son who sleeps during the harvest is disgraceful. You know the problem is, though? This entitlement mentality is built out of this idea, I should never have problems in life. You know the problem with most people is they think they shouldn't have problems. And then they let the challenges they faced in life put them into a place of pity. And you know what they do? They lick their wounds instead of rise above it. You don't think that Ruth couldn't say, I lost my husband, I lost my home, I lost my father-in-law and sit and lick her wounds in pity? You don't think she couldn't just go around and begging, hey, I don't got no husband? She didn't let her challenges keep her from her solution. And I wasted many years of my life in a pity party state. Because I didn't grow up in a great home. I grew up in a very dysfunctional home. I grew up where my mom, because of mental illness, we moved all the time. I went to 12 different schools. Every single year, I had to start all over again. Every single year, I had to be the new kid. Every single year, it was exhausting. It was tiring. I could never get settled. And then I remember it got worse in my high school years. I remember my senior year, my mom kicked me out so many times based on manic issues and problems. I ended up living with a 22-year-old and a 24-year-old in a laundry room with a twin bed with no door. I could not feed myself other than working at a pizza place at night, and I ate free lunches at school, and I had to take every dime I had to put gas, a car payment, and insurance. And I still went to school. I still graduated with A's and B's, but I had this mentality: people should save me. People should rescue me. I deserve more. And I spent my 20s thinking dreams are going to be handed to me, and that God was just going to feel sorry for me, and that other people would feel sorry, and they would give me my dream. And it wasn't until I was 27 years old I realized, you know what? I'm sick of settling. I'm starting to fight for the dreams that God has. And God put a church in my heart called Bloom Church. And me and Amanda said, you know what? This is our plan A through Z. There is no plan B. We're not retreating. We're going all in. We drained our bank accounts to keep the church afloat for the first year. I worked for 2 years, a job where I worked full-time, 50, 60 hours a week, putting into it. Year 3, I was able to get a part-time salary from the church, and I worked part-time with another church. And I started realizing I'm going to work for the dreams God has placed in my heart. And during all the problems and all the stresses and all the struggles we went through as a church plant, God always put this in my spirit: man didn't call you, I called you. Man doesn't fund you, I fund you. But here's the kicker: I didn't make the decision to plant a church, and then all of a sudden I go out the next day and open up the mailbox, and there was $1 million sitting in that mailbox. It took years of planting, years of plowing, years of sowing for us to start realizing there's a harvest God was providing. And some of you got to quit licking your wounds and get on your feet and realize your dreams are received on your knees, but they're achieved on your feet. Yes, we pray to God. Yes, we seek His will. Yes, we want His dreams in our lives, but then we get on our feet and we cross the Jordan River and we slay some giants and we take the promised land which God has promised us in our lives. And when you get to moving, your God is with you every step of the way. God follows the movers. God protects the movers. God has favor on the movers who are in alignment with His will. Who you are today determines who you will be tomorrow. And some of us just want to do the right thing when it feels right. And the moment life doesn't go the way we wanted it to go, we get mad and frustrated and we revert back to our old ways. Listen to me, faithfulness is not just faithful because you receive a reward. If that's the case, you're in it for a reward, not a relationship. It's like marrying somebody for their money. Well, I'm going to be faithful just because I don't want to lose the lifestyle this person gives me. Not because I love that person. And how many times that's the way we look at God? God, I'll be faithful as long as you keep blessing me. I'll be faithful because I don't want to go to hell. And we miss the intimacy we have with God. Listen to me, you do the right thing because it's the right thing despite the outcome. And when you keep doing the right thing because it's the right thing despite the outcome, that's where the favor of God starts.
Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring that bell so you never miss a video or a live stream, and give this a share to one of your friends. And remember, we go live every single Sunday. Till next time, pray God's peace.